Okay, so let's dive right into this idea of man being made in God's image.
Yeah.
Not like physically, right?
Right.
But more in a spiritual way,
Mm-hmm.
like tiny little mirrors of something much bigger.
It's a really fascinating concept, and people have been thinking about this for a really long time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you see it pop up in ancient philosophy,
Uh,
but also in religions like Judaism, Christianity,
yeah.
and Islam.
I was going to say, those are the ones we're looking at today.
Yeah, that's right.
In the sources you gave me.
And I think it's really interesting how you have, like, Plato.
Okay, the philosopher.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
With all of his ideas about, becoming godlike.
Right.
But then alongside that,
Yeah.
you have these really powerful insights from the Old Testament
Uh-huh.
and then also from Islam.
Yeah, and they all seem to say the same thing.
Yeah, which is that we can become more like God
Okay.
by developing certain qualities in ourselves.
But you're not saying we have to be perfect, are you?
Yeah. No, not at all.
Okay, good.
It's not about perfection.
Yeah.
It's about trying to be more in line with...
Okay, so like aligning ourselves with those qualities.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So let's start with Plato then, since he was way back in ancient Greece.
Right. So for Plato, it all starts by turning away from bad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Wickedness,
So like being a good person.
Right.
Okay.
But also aligning yourself with, like,
With what?
the divine standard of justice and holiness.
Oh, so it's about being a good person, but also like
Yes.
there's something bigger.
Exactly. And for Plato, it wasn't about
It wasn't about what?
just outward appearances, like how you looked or anything like that.
Gotcha. So it's not about
Right.
like literally looking like God or
I don't know. It was about what was happening on the inside.
an inward transformation.
Yeah, an inward transformation.
Makes sense.
And Plato didn't stop there.
Oh, really?
He also believed that studying the heavens,
It's like astronomy.
astronomy, and grasping mathematical truths.
Interesting.
Yeah, he thought those were essential for becoming godlike.
Really?
So he saw our ability to understand those universal laws as like
Wait, what?
a bridge to the divine.
That's interesting.
So it's like
Yeah.
our minds, when they're working really well,
Yeah.
they can reflect the order and perfection of the cosmos.
Oh, I like that.
He even said that the shape of our skulls,
Our skulls.
yeah,
Wow.
was designed to facilitate this higher thinking.
So he's really connecting the physical and the spiritual here.
Absolutely.
But I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
That our bodies can reflect something deeper.
And this is where things get really interesting with the Old Testament and Islam.
Okay.
Because God's names, they aren't just names.
What do you mean?
They offer these glimpses into God's nature,
Okay.
his character. And when we look at them, they can teach us about our own potential.
It's like holding up a mirror to God and seeing ourselves reflected back.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it.
So in the Old Testament, you have names like El Shaddai,
El Shaddai.
which means Lord God Almighty.
Okay.
And this shows God as a source of nourishment
Okay.
and sustenance.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Jehovah Ra,
Jehovah Ra.
meaning the Lord my shepherd,
Interesting.
which emphasizes guidance.
And what was the other one?
Protection?
Oh, right. Protection.
Yeah.
And in Islam?
You have names like Al-Ghafar,
Okay.
which means the ever-forgiving.
Okay.
And As-Salam,
What does that mean?
the source of peace.
Wow. So each of these names
Yeah.
shows us something different about God.
Exactly.
And what's really cool is that they also show us
Yeah.
qualities that we can have as humans.
That's true.
Like Jehovah Rapha,
Yeah.
the Lord that heals.
It makes you think about
I was going to say.
our own capacity for compassion
Yeah.
and healing.
It's like those divine attributes are telling us about God, but also
Yeah.
nudging us towards our own
Exactly.
spiritual growth.
Yeah, it's this beautiful back and forth
I like that.
where the divine names are like a guide for our own development.
Cool. So they show us
They do.
that we can participate
Yes.
in God's qualities.
In a limited way, of course.
Right, because we're human.
But we can still participate.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But Plato also said that there are limits, right?
Yes, he did.
To how much we can be like God.
He said that only God can fully blend
What was it?
unity and multiplicity.
Unity and multiplicity.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but
Okay.
basically it means that God is boundless,
Uh-huh.
But we're limited.
as human.
Right, as humans.
Okay, so we can strive for those qualities,
We can.
but we're not going to be perfect.
No.
It's about the journey.
Exactly. It's about the journey.
Okay, I like that.
And it's about what changes within us
Okay.
as we aim for those higher ideals.
I like that a lot.
It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, it is.
It is. You know, that journey of transformation can take us to some interesting places.
What do you mean?
Well, we've been talking about like the positive divine attributes, right?
Like good stuff.
Yeah. Love, compassion, forgiveness.
Right. But there's more.
What about the parts of God
Yeah.
that might make us a little uncomfortable?
I see what you're saying.
Like even in the Old Testament,
Right.
God is a warrior,
Right.
a God of vengeance at times.
Yeah.
And in Islam,
Uh-huh.
one of Allah's names is Al-Jabbar,
Al-Jabbar.
which means the compeller.
Wow.
That's power.
Yeah. It even sounds a little scary.
Maybe even a little fear, yeah.
So are you saying
Yeah,
that there's like
there could be.
a dangerous side
Yeah.
to being like God?
It's not about danger exactly,
Okay.
but about acknowledging all of God.
So like the whole picture.
Yeah, just like there's mercy and love.
Uh-huh.
There's also anger and justice.
Right. And those are part of God too.
And those are reflected in us.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's a good point.
It's like we can't just pick and choose the good parts.
Yeah, if we're made in God's image,
Right.
then we have to have the less comfortable parts too.
Exactly. So then the challenge is
What?
how to bring those parts into our lives.
Yeah, but in a healthy way, right?
In a healthy way, yeah.
I don't want to
Right. You're not trying to...
become some
That's-
vengeful...
We have to remember
Right.
that even things like anger
Yeah.
can be a reflection of divine power.
Just on a human level.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, I think the key is
Yeah.
recognizing the difference in scale.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
God has these qualities,
Yeah.
but in their absolute
Okay.
most perfect form.
Oh, I see.
That's why in Islam, you often see the word most when you talk about God's attributes.
Real merciful.
Exactly.
They're most forgiving. Yes, God isn't just merciful.
Uh-huh.
He's the most merciful.
Okay.
And the same with the tough stuff, like
Oh.
anger
Okay.
or power. He's the most high.
So it's like a hierarchy.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
God has these qualities
Yeah.
in their ultimate form,
Yeah.
and we just reflect them.
But on a human level,
Right.
it's a difference in degree,
Okay.
not in kind.
We share these attributes.
They do.
But God is like,
The source.
yeah, the ultimate source.
Yeah.
That's actually a really
This is-
humbling thought.
Yeah.
Like, we can try to be like God,
We can try.
but we have to remember
Right.
that we're part of something much bigger.
It's true.
And being like God
Yeah.
isn't just about us, right?
No, it's not.
It's about how we act in the world.
It affects how we live our lives,
Yeah.
how we interact with the world around us.
This reminds me of something Jesus said.
Oh, yeah.
The Son can do nothing of his own accord, but only what he sees the Father doing.
It's like he's saying that being truly godlike
Yeah.
isn't just imitating God.
Right.
It's about being an instrument
Yeah,
of God's actions in the world.
I like that.
And that connects back
Good for
to
you.
what we were talking about.
About the scale.
Yeah. Christians believe
Yeah.
that Jesus is the perfect embodiment of God.
Yep.
The one who perfectly reflects.
God's will.
Exactly.
Put to,
But for us,
it's a process.
yeah,
A journey.
of trying to live up to those divine attributes.
The best we can.
So it's like we have to ask ourselves,
Oh, yeah.
how can I be
Yeah.
more compassionate, more forgiving, more just?
Yeah.
But also, how can I find that strength?
That inner strength.
Yeah, that sense of justice.
When things get tough.
Right. It's about becoming those qualities.
Yeah. Little by little.
And it's not about being perfect.
It's about those everyday choices
Okay.
where we choose kindness over judgment,
Mhm.
forgiveness over resentment.
Courage over fear.
And each of those choices,
That one makes a difference.
they ripple outwards.
I like that.
They affect the people around us.
Yeah. And
It's just
maybe
even-
contribute to something bigger.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Okay.
One act of compassion
Uh-huh.
or forgiveness,
Can change things.
they can heal old wounds.
Wow.
Those are divine attributes in action.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
we have the power
We
to
do.
bring those qualities into the world.
Exactly. It's inspiring to think about.
It is.
Makes you wonder,
Yeah.
if we all have that spark,
Yeah.
what could we accomplish together?
That's pretty amazing to think about
It is.
what we could do together.
It really is.
But before we go too far,
Sure.
I want to bring it back to the listener.
Of course.
You at home,
Right.
because this isn't just about philosophy.
This is about you.
Yeah, it's about how this idea of man being made in God's image
Right.
impacts your life. So what are those divine attributes
Yeah, what are the ones
that really speak to you?
Yeah, that you connect with?
Maybe it's compassion.
Okay.
Maybe it's justice.
Yeah.
Maybe it's wisdom.
Or a thirst for knowledge?
Yeah, a desire to learn.
Right, whatever it is.
Pay attention to that.
Yeah, those inner nudges
Yeah, those qualities
that feel right.
feel most connected
To God.
Yeah.
To your understanding of God.
Because those are the qualities that are calling out to you.
They're calling to be,
Cultivated.
yeah, brought out into the world.
Through your actions.
And your words.
Exactly.
And we've said it before.
Right.
But it's worth repeating.
It is.
You don't have to be perfect.
No, not at all.
It's about
the journey.
the trying.
The effort.
Yeah. To be a little more divine.
In your human life.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
It's about those small choices.
Yes.
The everyday moments.
Every day.
Where you choose.
Your kindness.
Yeah, instead of judging. Forgiveness over resentment.
Courage when you're afraid.
That's it.
And remember,
yeah,
you're not alone in this.
We're all in this together.
We all have that.
Spark.
Yeah, the spark of the divine.
Inside us.
And when we choose to embrace it,
yeah,
to let it grow.
It's like we contribute to this.
I was going to say it's like
collective awakening.
Yeah.
Where the world becomes
a little brighter.
A little more divine.
You know, all this talk about divine attributes makes me wonder if we could take this idea even further.
How so?
What if the world itself,
the world,
yeah, is a reflection
I see.
Of God?
Interesting.
Like we've been talking about how we,
as humans,
right, as humans,
and mere God.
But what if the whole universe is a reflection
of God's nature? Yeah. That's a big idea.
It is.
And it's not a new idea.
I was going to say, people have been thinking about this for a long time.
Mystics and theologians.
Yeah.
From all sorts of traditions.
They've been saying that God isn't separate.
From creation.
But is part of it.
Permeates all things.
Yeah. And if that's true.
Then it changes things.
It changes our responsibility.
It does.
It's not just about cultivating those qualities.
In ourselves.
But also recognizing them.
Yes.
In everything around us.
In every living thing.
In nature.
The beauty of the world.
The vastness of space.
All of it.
It's all part of
creation.
Yeah. And a reflection.
Of God.
So as you go about your day,
yeah,
I want you to look at the world with new eyes.
To see
the connections.
Yeah.
The beauty.
The mystery.
And remember
that what you're seeing
is a reflection
of the divine
that connects us all.
I really like that.
It's a beautiful thought.
It is.
It can change how we see the world.
And how we relate to it.
And to each other.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive
into
this amazing topic.
It was a good one. It was. I hope you found it thought-provoking.
And maybe even inspiring.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep seeking.
Questioning.
And keep embracing
mystery.
The mystery.